What is good? What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Man, it's been a little minute, man. I'm sorry I couldn't get up with you guys earlier to even talk waiver wire ads. It's been tons of injuries. Jaden Daniels might not play on Sunday. You have Justin Fields being ruled out with concussion. You have all kinds of things going on. What's good, my brother? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. It's been a little minute, but I'm back. So, tons of injuries, like I said. And if you are struggling at quarterback, especially at in superflex leagues, I'm going to give you guys a few options. I know waiver wires ran this morning. I saw a lot of Jake Browning because of the Joe Burrow injury. I think Joe Burrow is pretty much done for the year. So you have all kinds of stuff going on right now. All right, let's go ahead and get into the quarterbacks. Let's get into the quarterbacks. We talked about Joe Burrow being done, but this week I do like Dak Prescott versus the Bears. For the season, he's like right under 550 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He's averaging 17 points per game, but that Chicago defense is pretty bad. I think they're dead last when it comes to quarterback opponents and everything like that. So Dak Prescott should do really, really well in that matchup. I like Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has a chance to be a top 10, maybe even top 8 QB this year. He's tearing it up, 560 yards for the season, 5 touchdowns, no INTs. He's averaging 28.3 points per game in fantasy. Yes, we got our first question from Lonely Stoner 401. He writes, PPR, sit Kyron, Hendo, or Scat. So you want to sit one, right? You got to roll with Kyron. Kyron has to play. Okay. So now it comes to Hendo or Scat. Hendo offers you PPR value, but he's so inconsistent, especially what just happened with Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to bench Hendo and I'm going to go Scat because Scat has now become the number one running back for the New York Giants. Lonely Stoner also writes DST, Chargers, or the Bills. Who are the Chargers playing this week? I just talked about Justin Herbert. Playing Denver. Ooh. Yeah, no Chargers for me. I'm going to go Bills because Tua has struggled. The Miami offense has struggled. So go Bills over the Chargers. And if you aren't following yet or subscribed yet, please subscribe, please share. I kindly appreciate it. All right, so let's keep on rolling. You got Caleb Williams versus Dallas. The Dallas defense is pretty bad. Russell Wilson was able to put up, 450 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Not that Russell Wilson is a bad player, but Russell Wilson I think this is the best Russell Wilson we've seen in how many years. So, yes, Caleb Williams should be able to, have a decent showing versus Dallas this week. Caleb has 417 yards passing, 4 TDs, and 1 INT. So you can possibly see a 3-touchdown game from Caleb. And I do feel like Caleb will have a lot of rushing yards this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones might be the hottest QB in fantasy right now. He's either QB1 or QB2 in points total. So, yeah, Daniel Jones, he's becoming a must start. He's going against Tennessee. Tennessee has struggled. But I think where Daniel Jones might have more leverage in this game might be with his legs. The Titans do have a decent defense, believe it or not. But I do like Daniel Jones this week. Until Daniel Jones starts to play bad, he's averaging 28.1 points per game. It's pretty solid. Almost 600 yards passing, 28 yards rushing, but then 5 passing TDs, not including his work from the ground. So, yeah, I like Daniel Jones a lot moving forward. He seems to be a legit starter. Let's see if he can keep that going versus the Titans this week. Drake May. Drake May versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense has struggled. Drake May's averaging 24 points per game, 4 TDs, 1 INT. And then obviously he offers you some upside on the ground. So definitely love Drake May this week. If you are looking for QBs, I mean, this is going to be one of those weeks where we possibly could have 5 QBs out, including JJ McCarthy, who they said he has an ankle injury. I just think that JJ McCarthy's pretty bad, and it's just kind of tough to watch him play. And guys like Justin Jefferson is kind of pissed off right now. So yeah, he has a phantom injury, could be a real injury, but they're saying he can be out 2 to 4 weeks. So we'll see what happens there. Start Jake Browning in Superflex League. Mac Jones has looked good. He looked good in his first start. So although he has a tough matchup versus New Orleans, I would start Mac Jones, even Jake Browning, just because of the weapons that he has. A guy that we all should be worried about this week is Aaron Rodgers. He looked good week 1. He looked bad week 2. With Aaron Rodgers, man, in the 21st year, you just have to just take what you can get with Aaron Rodgers. All right, moving on along. QBs that I do not like this week and even moving forward is Tua. 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs. It's hard to trust them. You don't know what kind of Tua you're going to get. And then Thursday night, I am really reluctant to start guys who play on Thursday night. It's just something about those guys not producing. Now, Bryce Young did play well last week. He's playing a tougher Atlanta defense this week. So kind of, gauge that. And same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Tough matchup this week versus Houston. I'm not in on him. Matthew Stafford is another guy. He's solid, but because of the limited rushing ability, he's not going to give you the kind of numbers that you're looking for. So Matthew Stafford, I'm not starting him unless I need to. A guy that I am going to start is Jared Goff, playing against the Baltimore Ravens defense. Baltimore is going to score. So with a negative game script, it could be potential to where Jared Goff has tons of opportunity to pass the ball. And if he does, with that Lions high octane offense, it could be beneficial if you do start Jared Goff. So yeah, start Jared Goff with confidence. All right, moving on along, let's look at some wide receivers. Jacoby Myers has been tearing it up this season in terms of getting targets. He's received 22 targets already in the first 2 games, and we all know targets change. So what has he done with the 22 targets? He has 14 receptions, 165 yards. He's averaging about 15.3 points per game. Now, those are flex numbers, but at the same time, that's a solid wide receiver 2 type performance. He's going against Washington. Washington has struggled on defense, so start him with confidence. Whether he's going against Lattimore or Mikey Sanderstreel, both guys have been pretty bad so far. Amos has been solid, so we'll see where they line up. And then obviously you got Bowers out there, but he's as consistent as they come. Courtland Sutton going against the Chargers. Although Courtland Sutton has struggled so far this season, averaging 9.9 points per game, you can even say Broncos wide receivers. Somebody's going to pop off, okay? It might not be Courtland Sutton. It could be, what's his name? He just had a great game. Troy. I can't think of his last name. It'll come to me. But one Broncos receiver should go off this week. Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin was the guy last week. They have tons of guys. It could be Sutton. It could be Troy. It just all depends on where Bo Nix is going. But one thing is for sure, the tight end connection has not been there all year. So it definitely could be another wide receiver. It could be Courtland Sutton. It could be Troy Franklin. It could be Marvin Mims. Somebody will go off. But again, it's more of a flex option. I'm not starting those guys as my number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. Rome Odunze has been tearing it up this season. Him and Caleb have a great connection. And Rome Odunze is going against those Dallas Cowboys who can't cover anybody. They can even cover their nose when they sneeze. So Odunze this season, 20 targets, 13 receptions, 165 yards, with the biggest number is the 3 touchdowns. He went off last week, and he could go off this week, averaging 23 points, 8 points per game. Deebo Samuels, he continues to play ball. He continues to be solid. All right, let me pause for a question real quick. Dylan TV, appreciate you hopping on. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Dylan writes, trade a chain for Jamar Chase? Yes. Yes. Jamar Chase is the only wide receiver that I would have over any running back. Jamar Chase is just different. And even though the guy that has Jamar Chase might be afraid that because Joe Burrow is gone, no. Jamar Chase is quarterback proof. He's one of those guys that he's special. Just throw it in his vicinity, he's going to catch it. So, yeah, definitely. I would definitely trade a chain for Ja'Marr Chase. Even if they're asking me for a chain plus, I would do it. Ja'Marr Chase is just that good. All right, Deebo Samuels, 18 targets so far this year, 14 receptions, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, some of his touchdowns come from rushing, some come from receiving, but Deebo Samuel seems to be the number one receiver for the Commanders so far. He has a connection because he was in camp. Terry McLaurin wasn't. So you just have to ride this Deebo thing until it gets cold. Now, Marcus Mariota is going to be starting this week, most likely. They're saying Friday. They're going to see how Jaden looks in practice, and then they kind of go on from there. What I would say is this. If Marcus Mariota plays, he's going to look for the checkdowns. He's going to look for guys like Ertz. Look for Ertz to be solid. Look for Deebo to be solid. I don't know. With Terry missing the offseason, it's really affected him in a huge way. So, yeah, start Deebo with confidence, man. If anything, Deebo will end up with 13 points. He's really, really, really solid. And if he continues to get that touchdown upside, that bodes well for you. Obviously, you start CeeDee Lamb, right? But the biggest question this season has been George Pickens. How has George Pickens looked this year? 13 targets, 8 receptions for 98 yards and a score. But the bulk of all of this came in week 2 against that weak Giants defense. Now, I told you guys that the Bears defense is pretty weak. So there's potential, there's upside for a guy like George Pickens to come out and have a good showing. Guys that I like are any receiver that plays for the Colts. I don't know if it's going to be a Pittman game or if it's going to be a Josh Downs game. One of these two guys are going to emerge, although we've seen that Tyler Warren has been the number one target for Daniel Jones. But I do like a receiver for the Colts this week. I just can't pinpoint on whether it's going to be Pittman or Josh Downs. So look out for that. When it comes to the San Francisco 49ers wide receivers, you have plenty to choose from between Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, especially with George Kittle being out. There is a chance for one of these two guys to kind of go off this week. These are guys that I would consider wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 2s. All right, we got another question here from Andrew. Appreciate you hopping on. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Andrew writes, Trey McBride or for Kenneth Walker and J.K. Dobbins. I wouldn't do that. But if I need running backs and I have another tight end outside of Trey McBride, then I would. Kenneth Walker is going to be an up and down for this guy all season. I like Charbonnet better. I think it's going to be a point in the season to where Kenneth Walker could be traded. Okay. J.K. Dobbins, he's the number one right now. He's playing ball right now. But like I said, if you need RB depth, then you'll make that trade. But Trey McBride is like him and Tyler Warren are two tight ends that I trust right now. I don't trust a lot of tight ends right now. So to have a high-end tight end is more valuable than, getting a couple of questionable backs. We got a question from John. John, appreciate you hopping on the stream. John says, I got Kyler, Bucky, James Conner, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek, Laporta, Chuba Hubbard with Deebo and Ricky on the bench. That's a solid team. Would you trade Kyler, Chuba Hubbard, and Ricky for Deebo and Josh Allen, or is that too much? Yeah, that's a bit too much. Josh Allen is one of one, but the production that you're going to be getting from Kyler is steady with the rushing upside. I like Kyler. Doesn't give you the biggest numbers every single week, but with the rushing upside, Kyler is nice. And then Chuba Hubbard has been solid from last year till now. And Ricky's just one of those guys that can kind of go off here and there. So, yes, you're getting Josh Allen. Let's monitor this Deebo situation with the Commanders and everything like that, because eventually Terry will be back to Terry. And when Terry's back to Terry, can Deebo still put up solid numbers with Terry being Terry? So that's something to kind of, to watch. Yeah, I like the Kyler, Chuba, and Ricky side. That's just me personally. All right. Fannin Jr. or the Saints tight end Johnson. So you guys probably didn't catch my TikTok. I'm on TikTok on Dynasty Overload. And I put out The first week waivers, right? Juwan Johnson is probably the safest tight end so far this year. I would rock with Juwan Johnson just because he's getting 9 to 10 targets every single game. When I get to the tight end portion of the show, you guys will see what I'm talking about. Yes, Juwan Jennings has been solid. Fannin, although Fannin is getting targets, Njoku's still there. There's going to be a point in time when Njoku becomes Njoku or Njoku eats into Fannin Jr.'s targets. That's all I'm saying. So for me, give me Juwan Johnson. Andrew writes, my squad is Lamar, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Mason. I love Jordan Mason. Kenneth, Walker, Dobbins, Odunze, Sutton, St. Brown, Kincaid. Who are you drafting with? Oof, this is a squad. Says, I need the tight end, not the depth. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Makes more sense. If you need the tight end, then definitely give up Kenneth Walker and definitely give up Dobbins. Yeah. So you're good. So yeah, now we're me and you, we're on the same page. Yeah. Definitely go grab you some Trey McBride for sure. Like, even if you didn't need the depth, I'm taking Trey McBride every single time. I thought it was the other way around. I thought you was giving away Trey McBride to get those 2 running backs. Oh, you're good. For sure. And then we can't trust Kincaid. We cannot trust Kincaid. Thank you, Dakota. Appreciate you, bro. I'm going to try to do more streams, more consistent. I'll do one on Wednesdays, probably a little bit earlier, maybe like around 3 next time. I only got about 12 more minutes. I'll do one like around 3 and probably stream for 2 hours and just get questions in and just kind of give you guys some advice. It says, the thing is, the person who was trading me, Jamar Chase, wants a chain and Johnson, but I don't have another tight end. Still worth it, man. It's still worth. Jamar Chase is worth a chain and whatever, but I totally get it. Johnson has been killing it. Johnson could be a top 5 tight end this year with the way tight ends are set up with injuries and not enough targets, a lot of running teams. Like Mark Andrews has been nowhere to be found. So I definitely get what it's like to not have a really good tight end. For example, I had George Kittle. George Kittle got hurt. First week of waivers, I was able to get Juwan Johnson for free. So I was excited about that. Says, I messed up on my running backs outside of Javonte Williams. I have Chase Brown, Pollard, Williams, Najee. Doesn't help. I have Worthy too. Who could I trade Brown or Pollard and Worthy for? Yeah, don't give up on Chase Brown just yet. Chase Brown will bounce back. At the end of the day, Chase Brown has the lion's share of that Cincinnati backfield. So always remember that. Always go for the bell cows. Although Chase Brown, like I said, is not playing ball right now, keep him and kind of monitor that situation. You can trade Chase Brown for something else, but who's willing to buy Chase Brown low? So you're not going to get a high value on Chase Brown right now. Now, in terms of Pollard was solid in week 2. He had 95 rushing yards, so he was solid. You can trade possibly Pollard and Worthy for a top 10-ish back. I would just say try to see what kind of backs you could get, and Worthy is valued fairly high. So one thing in fantasy football, especially in redraft, that's hard to do, even in Dynasty, is finding running backs. There's always a shortage of running backs all the time. Hey, boom. Appreciate you hopping on, man. If you guys are watching and you guys are not subscribed, please give me a sub. I would kindly appreciate it. Boone says, should I stash Monangai over Marks with Swift being limited with his quad? You know what? That's tough. But if you watch this Monday night game, you saw some Woody Marks sighting. You saw some flashes from Woody Marks. I like Woody Marks a lot. But I also understand stashing Monangai. So it's one of those things. Who do you trust more? Do you trust the Houston offense or do you trust the offense of the Bears? Both offenses have question marks, but also the Bears have more upside because they're going to be losing a lot of games. So there's upside for that, for more offensive plays, right? So I would say stash Monangai over Marks, although I do like Marks a lot. Yeah, so definitely always go for the guy that could potentially get on the field quicker than the guy that's he's behind Chubb, and Chubb looked good. So yeah, Monangai over Marks. George writes, Pollard and Worthy for Genty, or is that an overpay? It's not an overpay. Now, I would say this. Genty has not been productive for 2 weeks. He's going to go against the Washington defense that has a decent rush defense. So with Genty, he's going to be a guy that you have to be willing to go through the frustrations. You have to be willing to be with him all season. I don't know when Genty is going to pick it up, but at least Pollard he's been solid. And then for Worthy, he's going to get to play this week. And he's practicing with nothing holding him back. So it's not an overpay, but you have to be willing to wait on Genty. It says, who won the trade? Dak, Genty, Ridley, Sampson, or Robinson? Okay, so I'm trying to understand this trade. So you're telling me who won the trade? Dak, Genty, Ridley, Sampson, or Robinson? So are you saying that you traded 4 guys for Robinson? Or just rephrase that question for me so I can kind of better understand. It says pick 2, Ridley, Diggs, or J-Mo. Whew, that's tough. I'm picking J-Mo for sure. Diggs has been questionable, but Ridley is struggling, man. So give me Diggs and J-Mo. I don't like Diggs or Ridley this week, but give me Diggs and J-Mo. All right, it says, I'm just 0-2 right now, and my starters are Daniels, Jefferson, McLaurin, and Kraft. Yeah, I get it. Trust me. With Daniels' injury, with Jefferson now being downgraded to having a lesser talented quarterback, well, I don't know. Jefferson could turn up this week with Carson Wentz being the quarterback. So that could be a positive for you. J.J. McCarthy is pretty bad. McLaurin, eventually he's going to wake up. He starts out slow every year, and Kraft balled out. So you're going to be fine. Stay the course. Just stay the course. Now, when you get to 0-4, obviously you don't want to get to 0-4, but when you get to 0-4, it's kind of like when you start to make some panic moves. But 0-2, you're still fine. Just remember, the teams that are winning early are not necessarily winning later. Sometimes the teams that are losing early kind of, pick up steam as the season goes on. So just always remember that. So I'm trying to trade Dak, Genty, Ridley, and Sampson for Robinson. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. I get Bijan Robinson is a beast, but that's a lot. If it's a one quarterback league, I can understand where Dak is less valuable, but we don't know when Genty is going to take flight. Ridley, Sampson, those are throwing. So when you're really looking at it, it's really a Genty and Dak for Robinson. Right now, I'd rather have Robinson, but you are giving up a lot. So if you feel like you can make up some of these other pieces that you're giving away, then it's definitely going to be worth it on your end, especially if this is redraft. It says drop Strange for Goddard. I would. Goddard did look good week 1. He was out week 2. Strange has not looked good at all. That whole Jags offense has not looked good. Give me Goddard. It says, would you trade JCM for Ja'Cory Cross-Camara? Okay, Ja'Cory Cross-Camara, right? Yeah, for Ted McMillan. Ooh, yes. Give me Ted McMillan all day long. Although I do like Ja'Cory, although I'm a Washington fan, give me Ted McMillan. Ted McMillan is going to get all the targets on that Panthers squad. It says he needs help at quarterback. He had Joe Burrow. I understand. And Dak is going to ball this year. So, yeah, that's solid, especially, like I said, it's Dak and Genty for Bijan Robinson. The other 2 guys are fluff. So that's definitely solid. It says start Dak or May this week. Give me Dak. Dak is going to put up numbers. Dak is one of those quarterbacks that I was targeting in drafts this year because with that Cowboys defense being so bad, the Cowboys will have to pass a lot to come back. Let me run through some of these other things. So some of the other receivers that I like Wan'Dale Robinson this week in the flex. Maybe this is a week that Keon Coleman comes back to relevance because he had a great week 1 and then bad week 2. So he is playing the Miami Dolphins, who are terrible. So that could be great. Quentin Johnston, man, he just continues to score. I don't know if he's going to ball out again this week, but he continues to ball. All right, let me look at some more of these questions. All right. Should I trade May instead of Dak then? You can trade May. I think both guys are going to have productive seasons. Look at it this way. Drake May offers you rushing, right? So every time you rush, you get more points, right? Every 10 yards is 1 point, opposed to every pass, 25 yards is 1 point. But yeah, trade May. I think that Dak has a bigger season than May. It says, is Dak better than May? Rest of the season seems like May has better matchups. Yeah, better matchups, but I think Dak ends up with more points than May this season. But whichever one that you trade, just make sure that you're getting value. And getting the Bijan Robinson, that's pretty solid. I mean, that's more than solid. So, yeah, either or. Both are good quarterbacks. I lean more Dak than Drake May. Let's look at running backs real quick. ETN has been tearing it up this season. 214 yards rushing, 5 receptions for 31 yards and a score. He's averaging 17.8 points per game. People wrote off ETN all last season. He comes back at age 26 this year. He's fully healthy, and he's really the catalyst of that Jags offense. Javonte Williams, he's been solid. He's averaging 22.7 points per game, 151 rushing, and he has some receiving yards. But then the biggest thing is he has 3 rushing TDs. Jaylen Warren, he's the number 1 back. Caleb Johnson has lost his way. He's buried on that depth chart. You have Kenneth Gainwell, who hasn't really done much in the league. So Jaylen Warren, man, start that guy with confidence. He's a guy that can play in the passing game, averaging 15.7 points per game, and he's only going to rise. If you can try to get a trade for Jaylen Warren, get a trade for Jaylen Warren. I mean, that's a solid back right now, and he's hot right now. Swift is solid, especially when he's healthy in that offense. He has potential to receive and run the ball. Kenneth Walker's picking up some steam, but I still like Charbonnet in the long run. But those are going to be 2 guys that are going to frustrate you because you're not going to know which back is going to be which each week. Let me see. It says he countered with Njigba and Dak and Genty, but I don't want to go. Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. Nah, that's not. He's being greedy. Dak and Genty should be enough for Bijan, especially if he needs a quarterback. You can even say Dak and Njigba, but I think Njigba's going to be a top 5 to top 10 wide receiver. I'm not giving him up. I'm sorry. I would find another option at running back. Forget Bijan, but I get it. Andrew says, give us an NFL hot take, bro. All right. NFL hot take. Woo. All right. I'm going to give y'all one just because I'm a Commanders fan. Marcus Mariota will get Terry McLaurin 100 receiving yards and a score this week. The reason I say it's been 3 weeks. Terry starts out slow. We're going to see Mariota do something that Jaden hasn't been able to do. Not necessarily Jaden's fault, but I think Marcus Mariota gets Terry 100 yards receiving and a score this week versus the Vegas Raiders. So should I pick up Knicks and drop either? Should I pick up Knicks and drop either Dak or May? No. I think all 3 guys are all on the same level. I like Dak the best out of the 3. I like Dak, then I like Knicks, then I like May. But Knicks and May, they're all around the same. So it's all about preference. Or if you can trade one of those guys, then you can go ahead and pick up Knicks. That works too. Says, this is my team. What are my weaknesses and my strengths? All right, let me know. I got 3 more minutes on the stream before I have to go. So just let me know your team, and then, all right. It says, Prescott, May, Walker, Genty, Ridley, J-Mo, Njigba, Neighbors, Diggs, Sampson, Benson, Ferguson, Goddard. So tight ends are solid. That's a nice little duo. You saw Ferguson went off last week. I would probably say running back. So keep Walker, keep Genty, but try to find another back that you can plug in instead of Genty until Genty kind of gets going. Because I'm guessing you're probably like, what? I don't know if you said 0-2 or 1-1 or something like that. But this team, just looking at it, looks like a team that's either 1-1 or 0-2. And it's not that the roster is bad. It's just that things happen. Now, your strengths, man, J-Mo, Jackson, Smith and Jigba, Neighbors, that's a solid 3 right there. Ridley's a backup. If you can trade Ridley plus maybe Sampson or Ridley and Benson, Benson is a guy that I like, especially if Connor ever falls out. But yeah, this is a solid team. You just need one more back that can give you some consistency. Walker has been okay. Genty has been bad. Sampson started off pretty good, but Quinton, what's his name? Quinshawn Junkins is there now. So that's going to eat into Sampson, but Sampson is still the receiving back. So yeah, I would say running back. You need like one solid running back, which I understand why you're trying to make that trade. But don't sell too much. Check the waiver wires. Check for some running backs that you feel could come in and step up. Like look for a guy like Ollie Gordon. Pick him up before that Thursday night game. If a chain gets hurt, Ollie Gordon could be a top 24 back in terms of production. So look for little moves like that. Continue to stash backs on your roster, and you should be fine. Hey, man, thanks for your help. You earned yourself a sub. Appreciate you. So like I said, I'll be doing this more every Wednesday, maybe like around 3, and I'll stream for 2 hours and try to give you guys some advice. All right, y'all. I'm out, and I'm going to catch you guys on that next episode. Peace.